Hello, happy stampers. This is Kate with Kate's Paper Creations, and I welcome you to my weekly hashtag simple stamping video and blog. This is where I do simply beautiful cards, simply made. And because the cards are so simple, you really don't need instructions or a tutorial. So I always add in a stepped up version, and that's the one we'll be making today. But I'll show you the simple one first. Now this is going to be a sneak peek into the new fall mini catalog that has already been sent out. If you don't have one, you need to send me a message and I will get you one. But this goes live August 3rd, and I'm excited to share with you a card from one of the stamp sets in this catalog. It's called Nature's Harvest. Let's get it up here so I can show you. It's a beautiful set. I'm looking forward to sharing more cards with you from it. This is Nature's Harvest, and it coordinates with Harvest dies. And so let me open it up and show you. It comes with these dies. And so there is a die to cut out this and a die to cut out this. These dies will cut out the sentiments. And then it's got some dies that just cut out some extras, which is really cool. And like here's one of them, and I cut out of some sparkly paper that's in the celebration. And then you'll get to see another one that we're going to use today. So let's, it's a beautiful set. Now you'll notice that the coloring in that, I make my own covers. I bring in the pictures and I make my own covers for my stamp cases and all of my embossing folders and dies and everything. And they're color coded by catalog. And so these, all the things from the new mini have the green, and then anything from another catalog. This is last year's color that I used for last year's annual catalog, for the 2020 catalog. And then I have like yellow for the current annual catalog. So they're all a different color. Also, this color here is lighter than this color, and that's because this is from the fall celebration. And so those are the free sets that you can earn during August and September for purchases of $50 or to $100, depending on what's in the celebration book. So anyway, hope that's not too confusing. What I like to do is I have down here the order number, the cost, what catalog it was in, what page it's found on, and whether it coordinates and with what, and so on. And then when I use these at workshops and stuff, I can pass this around and they don't have to drag out their catalogs. They have their little wish lists at their place setting, and they can write this information down. They can see it firsthand. Oh yeah, and I always put the pictures in. Here's the back that shows the dies. So that's what I do. It's a lot of work, but it makes workshops way easier because they can find this stuff. So if you're a demonstrator, that's always handy. So anyway, Nature's Harvest is the stamp set I'm going to be using, and I'm going to be using this design right here. And I'm also going to be using this little branch from the dies. Then this is from the celebration. It's free with a $50 order. It's called In Your Words, and I'm using Hope This Card Makes You Smile sentiment from that. I'm going to be adding some matte decorative dots. These are in the mini catalog, and they are gorgeous. And then I also am using the rectangle stitched dies, which are our carryover favorite, and I am using the 5th smallest one. It's this one right here. Okay, so now you know what we're doing there. Let's get started. So get all that out of my way. Let me show you the simple card. This is the one that I made that was simple. It is a standard basic white thick base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, and it is covered with a piece of Peaceful Prints Designer Series paper, which will be available in the celebration catalog. And I stamped the image directly onto the designer series paper. And then I colored it with blends pens. And I used Old Olive, Pale Papaya, So Saffron, and Cajun Craze. And you can kind of see the various colors in that. And then the sentiment is just stamped with basic black. Okay, so there is the simple card. This is 4 by 5 1/4. It's stamped, and there you go. Very simple card. Let's show you how I made this one. This is my stepped up version, and that's the one we're gonna make. So let's do that. So here we are, standard base. I've already told you the size for that. We're gonna fold it and burnish it. Get a bone folder here. Yeah, it looks nice and straight. Make sure it is. And it's going to be a side fold. Then here's the designer series paper from that Peaceful Prints 4 by 5 1/4. And we're gonna, things are sticking to my tape. So we're gonna put that on with Stampin' Seal, just flat. No, I don't want to do that yet. Hold on. Let's back up a minute. Let's go to this next, because I want to put ribbon around that. And I can do that. And let me do one thing here real quick. I'm going to bring up my silicone sheet. This comes in handy when you've done something like I just did and put tape on before I was ready, because you can put it down on here and I can do what I need to do, and it'll come back up so I can stick it to the card. Okay, so hey, I am real. Okay, so I want to put this on here like this. The tape will not come off onto the ribbon. There's too much texture there. So I'm going to put it right on the card itself. And I'm just gonna, again, you could use a piece of grid paper that would help keep it straight, because you can see on my original it's not totally straight, and I want it about 1 inch from the bottom, and so there's 1/2 1. Let's go 1/2 1. Yeah, I think that is, well, let's go up one more. I'm going to go up to 1 1/2, and I'm going to put my ruler so I can see the grid lines on both sides, and I've lined up this bottom so it's even, and then I can take and put my tape here, and I can just, well, you know, and that's wider, so let's go back down to that mark, which is the 1 inch grid mark here and here. Get that straight, because this isn't going to be able to get real close because of the width of the dispenser. And so I'm going to lay it there, and I'm just going to run it across. Now that didn't come out. Let's see. It's going to be okay. So there we go. Just square with the world like that. That looks good. Okay, so there you go. You get to see how I fixed my little mistake there. And I've already got one row of tape on the back, or adhesive I should say. And we'll keep going around like this until we have it all the way around. And then I'll wrap those ends around so that they're behind, which is why I didn't want to do it previous. There we go. And then that's going to go on the front of the card with an 1/8 inch border all the way around. And as I've said in previous videos, I put it so this way so that I can see 3 sides and try to get them equal, eyeballing them like this. And then I can put this down, and then I have my border all the way around. So there's the base card ready to go. Okay, now we're going to do this piece next. This was cut from regular Whisper White, and it is the rectangle stitched square, and it's the one that is 2 1/8 by 3 1/2. And I'm going to put down this piece of backing because we're going to splatter it. I don't know if you can see them, but there's some splatters back here just to add a little bit to the card. And let's see if we can make this happen. I took one of my clear blocks and I just stamped it onto the basic black stamp pad. And I'm going to add some water with a spritzer, like that. Then I have, if I can get my hand on it wherever I put it, here it is, my one of my water brushes. And I'm just going to get some of that black onto my water brush, and then I am going to spatter. Oh, that's so pretty. And that's all I need. It's done. We'll just set that aside. I'll clean that up later. There we go. I do have a little pad here because those splatters have a tendency to want to go everywhere. Even when you think they're not going where you don't want them, they still go where you don't want them. So we'll make sure I don't have any marks here that are going to get in the way of the rest of our project. Okay, so there's that part of the piece. Now I am going to stamp the sentiment next. And I want to make sure my surface is dry here. So let's just get a piece of scrap paper here. So I know that that stays dry. And we'll bring in the sentiment. And I think I told you the sentiment comes from In Your Words from Celebration. And we will ink that up with basic black. You could use Memento as well. And I'm tucking it down in this bottom left corner. Just as close into that corner as I can get it. Just like that. Now you can see here too that I didn't necessarily get that A as dark as I'd like. I'm going to just come back with my marker and add just a little bit. The K wouldn't hurt to have a little bit either. That works. I like it. Okay, touch-ups. Those happen sometimes. Okay, let's get this out of the way. And we can set that piece aside. Now I stamped this image with Tuxedo Black Memento ink. That is the ink you use with Blends pens. When you're using Blends pens, which are alcohol-based, you want to use a water-based ink to stamp the image to color. If you're coloring with regular markers, you want to stamp with StazOn because it's a pigment base and it will dry permanent and will not smear when you color with water ones. So that's just so you know, one goes with the other. So anyway, I would typically color this before I cut it out, but it just adds another step I have to do when you're waiting for my video to complete. And so I went ahead and cut it out ahead of time using the Stampin' Cut emboss machine. So I started doing the flowers first, and I did them with, I think I did them with light Pale Papaya. Let's color it and see. I think that was the color I used. And I colored their petals. And you won't find me being a meticulous colorer. I never was. I used to get in trouble in school and stuff because I didn't stay in the lines good enough. Oh boy. Of course, my penmanship was horrible too. So anyway, so I colored them with the Pale Papaya first, and then I came back with the light Cajun Craze, and I added shading with that. Let's see. And it doesn't have to be perfection. Matter of fact, I'm going to switch to the fine tipped end because I can add a little more precisely. I'm pretty sure that's what I did the first time. And you can see how just adding that little bit of color, and you know those marks that you see in your flower, those are kind of like shading marks, and so that gives you some idea of where to color. And you don't have to be artistically minded in order to be able to do it well. Then I came back with, let's seal those up, with Calypso Coral Dark, and I did these centers with Calypso Coral Dark. That reminded me of those beautiful cone flowers or whatever they're called that bloom so beautifully in the late summer and early fall. So there's the flowers, and they're already just beautiful, aren't they? And then for the stems and leaves, I came in with the So Saffron Dark, and I added some shading, some yellow to the leaves and the stems, just in a little bit, not all over, okay? Just a little bit. I'm going to be cutting this leaf off, but I'll color it while I'm here anyway. Like that. And then I came back with the Old Olive Light and colored it and blended it into the yellow just a little bit. Like that. And I don't know, I liked the shading. You can see it in this one, how I got some shading in there, and I really liked it. So just playing around. I'll tell you, it takes me forever to design a card. I think I spent at least an hour doing this card, deciding what I wanted it to look like and how I wanted to lay it out. Okay, and there is that. That was the light. Then you could come back in with the fine tip and the dark, and you can add even a little bit more shading, again following those lovely shading marks that you see, and just don't get uptight about it. Just enjoy it. So there we go. There's our flowers all colored and ready to go. Now, I never seem to manage to get my dies perfect when I cut things out. And so I have just a little bit. I'm going to trim away here. I'm still going to leave a white edge, but I'm going to trim away just a little bit here. And I think I'm going to trim away a little bit over here too. I'm just going to do a little bit. You know, and it's just all a matter of how perfectionistic you want to be, but I kind of like trying to, you know, I don't know. I don't tolerate the white edges a lot. You'll often find me hand cutting these things out instead, but there, I'm a little bit happier with that. Okay. Then I took this lovely 6x6. It is called Be Dazzling. Be Dazzling Designer Series paper 6x6. It is also in the Celebration catalog, which is live August and September. And this is many sheets of this for a $50 order of merchandise. And so I cut this stem out of that. And it's going to kind of go with this, like this. So now I'm going to build this piece. Now I'm going to put this on flat. So I would suggest that if you do this, you might want to put the double-sided adhesive on the back. I did not, I forgot. So I'm going to go to my favorite Zig 2-way glue pen, because Stampin' Up! Has this wonderful, lovely little multi-use liquid glue, but it's just too much. It's not controllable enough for me, so I'm going to do it this way. And put my dots of glue on here. Get some over here. And there we go. And then I'll just pick that up. I'm going to bring in my wet wipe and make sure I don't have any glue there. And this piece is going to go on here a little bit like that, I think. And I'm going to hold it down until it starts to stick. Takes just a second. There we go. Got some black on my... I'll have to clean that up later. Okay, and then this one I am going to dimensional, this one. And so you'll need regular and mini dimensionals. And I am going to put a large one there and a large one there. And I think a large one will fit there. Yes. Okay, that's those. Then I'm going to come in with the minis, and I'm going to put a mini on this one and a mini down here at the crux of the thing, and then I'm going to also put some on the stem, and I'm going to cut that. Let me show you something first though. I'm going to put this on here, and you can see how my leaf is going to get in the way of the sentiment, and that's where I wanted my sentiment. So this leaf is going to go away. Poor little thing. Okay, then let's finish putting those on there. And what I did is I just, for these stems, they needed support. So I'm just cutting up the edge of my dimensional sheet, and you only need a little piece. And so you end up with this lovely little tiny piece, and you're going to put it right there on that stem. And then let's get one more. And peel that off. A little tricky. Once you get one side off, it can stick to your finger. Makes it easier to get the second piece off. And it's all ready to mount. And we'll get that on that one. And it's not so bad that you can't. There we go. And there's that one. I think that that's actually enough to support it. So we're going to take and put that on here now. And I'm going to tilt it just a little bit and press it into place. There is what I call my art piece. It's going to go on there. I need to learn to remember to put my paper down behind what I'm doing. And then I'm going to also dimensionalize this whole piece. And we'll give that some... I watched somebody else's video the other day, and they were saying that it's so boring to have to sit and watch somebody put dimensionals on. You should have those pieces all pre-made. And I go, well, you know, I do try to have pieces pre-made and not make you guys wait too long for what I'm doing. But it does give me a chance to chat with you too, which is kind of fun. I enjoy chatting with you. Okay. So let's get back my original base card, which is right here. And I'm just putting this about 1/2 inch from the bottom and from the side and sticking it on just like that. And there is my stepped up version of my Simply Simple stamped card. Isn't that just fun? And I just love that little bit of sparkle. Oh, I did add one other thing. Where is it? I added these matte decorative dots, and I just felt like it needed a splash of color, different color. So these are the cherry cobbler color, and I am going to put a few of those on here just to liven it up a little. And the color is, because they're matte and not too shiny, they fit perfect with this design, I think. And so we'll put one down here, and then let's put one way up there. There we go. Now it's finished. Sometimes I forget to put the embellishments on when I'm doing the videos. So there we have it. Today's simple card, a beautiful card simply made, and a stepped up version just for you. I hope you enjoyed today's video and that you'll visit my blog. I also, if you do not have a demonstrator, I invite you to shop my online store. I will put the link in the description below, as well as a link to my blog. And again, thanks for stopping by.